I used to work at a gas station. This was right at the beginning of January, after all the holidays. Around here, it gets insanely cold this month. I was working a later shift this night. Not a full overnight shift, but I think I was scheduled until 3 a.m. Anyway, it was snowing a bit, though it was really windy out and close to 10 degrees. Even just being outside for a few minutes was painful. Only a handful of customers even came through. Around 12 though, a man came inside the store. It startled me because I didn't hear his car pull in. The man didn't go any further into the shop though. He just stood by the door. I greeted him and he smiled and nodded, then stood there and looked out the glass door. My eyes shifted to the outside as well, and I noticed there weren't any cars. He must have walked here. "How are you doing tonight, sir?" I said, striking up a casual conversation. He looked at me and said he was fine and that he was just taking shelter inside while he waited for his ride to get here. I said it was all good and that he could stay as long as he needed. I still didn't fully understand his situation, but it was whatever. I made myself busy, stocking some of the shelves and tidying up the place. But an hour went by, and the man was still standing there, waiting. I asked if he wanted to use the phone to call or something, but he said no, and just kept waiting. I mean, yeah, it was really bad outside, but waiting this long was strange. Even him just walking here was strange. Like, where did he even come from? I went back around the counter and stood there. I didn't know what else to say to him. I waited another 30 minutes, spacing out and occasionally checking my phone, when the guy suddenly stood up a little straighter and looked at me. His eyes were dull, instantly sending a chill through me. I was gonna ask if everything was okay, but a light glared through the window. A car was pulling in. They came right up to the spot near the door and parked. Nobody got out though. I looked back at the man. He was still staring at me, but then he opened the door and walked out into the snow and up to the car. The driver rolled the window down, and instead of him getting in, they talked for a minute. Something in my gut felt wrong about this. It seemed like they were planning something, and I wasn't gonna take the risk. I walked around the counter and hurried up to the door, locking it shut. The man immediately whipped his eyes back at me. He rushed to the door, trying to pull it open angrily. Then the man in the car got out and did the same thing, trying to get the door back open. They were pissed off. I ran back to the counter and called the police, just hoping they didn't have anything to break the door with. Thankfully, once they saw me on the phone though, they got in the car and drove away. Obviously, they were planning something. What it was, I don't know. They were never found.